money buys a service, either buying a SIM card or buying airtime, data, or paying for TV, pay TV and the rest. They take the lead. The forum is there. So we stand on the other side. We stand aside as the regulators and the service provider. Then we give accountability on the mandate we're given in terms of the quality of the communication services we're giving, the consumer issues the consumers have, and what we're doing about them. If you have a fraud issue, you have a mufera attacking you, Mr. Regulator, Mr. Service Provider, what are you doing to protect me? I pay money for this service. You're given a mandate by government. What are you doing about it? Basically, this is what the platform is all about. So we hear their issues, but we also update them on the developments in the sector. Where is the sector headed as a country? In terms of laying out the networks, are you sure Uganda is fully covered? Is the quality good? Are we safe? Okay, but then we need to address it from the consumer's angle. And then so the regulatory interventions we make, they fit what the consumer needs. It's a dangerous thing to sit up there, design your things, but they don't apply on the ground.
Thank you very much. What informed the decision of having this meeting in the western region of Uganda, and of course specifically in Arua here, where we are this morning?
The consumer parliament, like I said, is for the consumer, the country all over. The first two parliaments, we had them in Kampala. But I remember then the Minister of ICT, and then Honorable John Nasasira, came up and said, why are you making this a Kampala thing? This is the thing for Uganda. We should have sittings all over the country in different locations, so that not only do you get localized issues there, but also so you pick the localized issue, but without them losing the national perspective. Because what the consumer in Arua is facing, the issue the guy in Busia is facing, Rakai and Morota and the rest. So the whole thing is to take it up country, get area-specific issues, get what the Mwananchi, because you can go to Nansana. The issue of Nansana is maybe totally different from the issue somebody is facing in Yumbe. Because we're somewhere in Yumbe and we ask people, how many people have smartphones? You should have seen this was miserable. Very few people have smartphones. But you're talking about digitalization of the economy, digitalizing the country. So when you listen to the person in Nansana and in Uptown Mbarara or Mbale only, you're getting it wrong, because the issue is not yet there. There are areas, the issues that are area specific. But also to give it a national outlook, that when you have a regulatory intervention, and it was done in Arua, you call it the Arua resolution. When you have one from Soroti, it's called a Soroti resolution. So people feel like they're the owners of the interventions you're making. So previously we've had them in Fort Portal, we've had them in Masaka, Mbarara, Mbale, Gulu, Lira, so that kind of thing, yes. In different parts of the country. One, to get the area-specific issues and replicate them at national level. But then there are also issues like border towns. For example, Arua, Busia, Ntoroko, Kisoro. The issues may be different. You get interference issues. For example, when a few kilometers outside Arua town here, you start picking Vodacom from Congo. That's an area-specific issue. So what are you doing in terms at both local and international level to address that issue? You get issues like smuggling. Those are area-specific issues. When you go to issues places like Kasese, Bududa, Mbale, you get now what we call vacuums, because there's a blockage, there's a mountain, the signal may not be clear. So it helps you to go out there and get area-specific issues. That's what informed our...
That's very important. I also just want to know how the 11 parliaments that you've had have helped you inform policy making, because of course, at the end of the day today here, we'll have some resolutions, we'll have had some issues from this particular area, like the areas you're talking about. But how have the 11 parliaments helped you as Uganda Communications Commission to manage policy, to reshape, and of course to also see how it mirrors into your national vision for the country?
Yes. Mr. Jagenda, the 11th parliament, the 11th CCP is the abbreviation for Communications Consumer Parliament, was in Lira. Now, in that sitting in Lira, we got two big issues. One was unsolicited messages, and then two, on the phone. Yes, you come. You send a message. Do you want a girlfriend? You call this number. Who told you I'm married? Maybe I don't need one. Issues like that. Then the second issue we got there was fake pastors and witch doctors promoting content that does not suit our culture as Ugandans. Coming, I am praying for you. Yeah, go check under your pillow. You'll find 2 million shillings. But before you do that, send me 20,000. And these were coming out on our communication channels. So the interventions we made is that one of them, we came up with a code to assist to assist consumers to block the unsolicited messages. The code 190 was an outcome of this CCP11 in Lira. So if somebody says it's a platform that continuously bombards you with messages you don't want, you press it and that's the end of the story. So that was intervention of the CCP11. The other one was we came out with guidelines for FM stations. We went around, we engaged them, and we laid out the rules. Some of the stations we did punitive measures. We switched off some of the stations. We fined some of them, but we also put up guidelines and we emphasized the oversight, the content oversight function of the commission, which is under our broadcasting function. So those two issues were mitigated. They may not have gone clear entirely, but were mitigated, and those were the outcomes of the previous parliaments. We had consumers complaining that we are distant from them. We're in Kampala as regulators. They informed the reason why we opened the regional offices is in Mbale, in Barara, and Masindi, and one in Gulu. Then we also introduced the toll-free number because consumers saying we cannot reach you, we cannot submit our complaints. So the UCC opened the toll-free number and a call center. The toll-free number is there, 0800 222 So those are some of the key outcomes from these sessions. Regulatory interventions based on the need of the consumer.
Have there been any activities that you've undertaken during the period that you've been here, or we just come here, get to this, and wait to hear what everybody will say and walk away?
Yeah, no. Mr. Jagan and our viewers out there, the CCP you're seeing here today, Desert Basin, is a climax of a week-long activities. It's a climax, big one, but also high level, because here we discuss so that we design interventions. But we also appreciate that the consumers are at different levels in terms of literacy, in terms of location, in terms of perception and understanding what you're talking about. So we've been doing activities, and this year specifically we focused on special interest groups. Yeah, people, because we're talking about digital inclusion for all. We're talking about digital safety for all. But sometimes we forget that certain interest groups that have group specific issues. For example, the people with disabilities. If you watch the UBC and somebody advertises that we are going to do this, we're going to have this intervention, but for further information, call the number on your screen below. But if I'm visually impaired, I can't see the number. Okay, so we had to engage the people with disabilities. We picked their issues, summarized. They will have a petition to present today, but we've already picked some of their issues. We looked at the people in the villages. We went to Terego in a village, deep down in a place called Kubala, in the market. The approach there is different. You use edutainment, you use activation, you use foot soldiers, but we engage and we open what we call consumer help camps, where we go with our licenses, MTN, Airtel, Leicat, UTL. They set up desks and you come and get your issues in real time. You may not address the bigger issues, but it's an attempt to reach you. So we deal with the rural population. Then we also dealt with the youth, especially the girl child. I know that it raises the issue that how about the boy child, you know. But when Bidi refugee camp, we talked to the girl child. We celebrated the Girls in ICT Day yesterday. And we also had their issues as users. And this is the majority of our country. About 60-70% of the population are the future of our country and the biggest consumers of communication services. So we engaged them, picked them. And then we dealt with the refugees. Okay. Refugees, remember, if I take you back, access to communication services is a universal, it's a right. It's a right, access to communication services. So whether you're in this country with a national or a refugee, you're entitled. You have the rights to access. But then they have challenges to access SIM cards because our rule says, our regulation says, for you to access a communication service, let's say SIM card, you must have a national ID. Exactly. But if I'm registered in your name, exactly, you're a refugee. So are you denying me my right? Okay, so we had to go down and engage UNHCR, Office of the Prime Minister, the refugee camp commandants, that's what they call themselves, and get to the root of the issue. And then we agree on a formula. What does a refugee card look like? Who is the authority behind it? We agreed it's OPM, of course, then standardize it. Then for us as a regulator of communication services, that's what we shall tell our licensees to follow. Anybody comes with an authentic, with these parameters, features standardized, that person can get a SIM card registration.
Okay, very important. Now we talk about the parliament, and just before we close this to get into the normal business, who is expected to be in this parliament today? Who is coming to present what? Who is coming to say what? And how long is the parliament going to take? And how is it the modus operandi over what a parliament looks like where we are today here?
Yes, basically it's modeled along the traditional parliament, the one you know down in Kampala. Who is expected here? We expect the local leadership. The mayor will be here, the RCC will be here, a few of the councillors will be in here. Then we'll have policymakers, Ministry of ICT is represented, they're here. We have the Government Citizen Interaction Center, the director is here. We have sister regulators and agencies, they're in here, the URAs, UNBSs, and mention them, they're in here. Then we have ourselves, UCC, from Executive Director and the rest, the management team is here. And then we have the operators, MTN, UTL, they form a platform, they form a panel. I'll tell you about the structure about that. And then we have media, the representative of the media, then we have the general population, our special interest groups are in here, then the general population, or what we call the consumers, principally represented by what we call the consumer advocacy organizations. Those are the entities we recognize. Yes, the advocates of consumer protection. So those will be in. And then we have a speaker. If you see behind me, there's a big chair seated there. I wanted to also do interview from behind there, but you didn't allow me. That's the speaker. Yes, the Speaker of the Parliament, Mr. Walter Mandu. He's a big opinion leader in this region. We usually get a son of the soil to the Speaker. Why? So that we step aside and we're held accountable also, but also to give it a local perspective. So Walter Mandu will be here during the presiding over the session. It's supposed to run for about 3 to 4 hours. Yeah, depending on how we keep time. And it runs like that. So in terms of procedure, we shall have a bit of formal opening from us as UCC, the event managers, the event owners, and then we shall hand over to the speaker. Then, of course, that will take us, we will receive the petitions from the special interest groups and the general consumer. And then we shall be summoned, as UCC and yes, we shall be summoned to come and give explanations, headed by our executive director. She will guide us, and as a technical team supporting her, we shall give answers. Then at the end of it all, it will be open to the plenary. I'm happy the viewers are following us on UBC. We are streaming it live, and we shall get input from there, both online and live here. At the end of it all, we shall have a summary and a report, and this report is taken up to the board to design interventions. So that's how the flow of the event will go.
And your hashtag is for this particular event?
CCP12.
CCP12.
12, yeah. Yes.
Online.
Yes, CCP12.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chizito Joseph, the head of consumer protection at the Uganda Communications Commission, of course, coming to you live from Arua City here at the Desert Breeze Hotel. Now, we told you it would be the Pan-African Friday, but the Pan-African Friday today is a special one here in Arua City, and of course, where we are for the Communications Consumer Parliament, and we now just want to welcome you live to what is happening here. I know UCC now wants to take charge of the event as it continues happening, and to just let the viewers know we're live on TV till the end of it. Yes. Anything more just before we let you as UCC again begin?
Yes, I think it's important that whoever is watching us, call your brothers, your sisters, your friends to tune into UBC, join in, because the message affects you. When I talk about the fraudster, the con man, that person who calls you saying, I'm calling from UCC, we're going to deregister your number unless you enter this PIN number or this code. That code.
Is that what you call the Tom Fera?
The Tom Fera campaign. We have the Tom Fera campaign. It's at the front of our engagement here. We'll discuss communication services from a consumer's angle broadly, but the key message when I have an opportunity, they say when God opens heaven, please ask for everything. You've given an opportunity, I'll tell you, please, because it's not every day that God opens heaven. Exactly. So now that I'm telling you, my countrymen, please avoid the issue of fraudsters, the conmen, Deba Fere. That's why we're calling it the Tom Fera campaign. I would have been here clad in my suit, but I want the message to be clear. If somebody tells you send mobile money, enter this PIN, enter this code, he's not asked for your PIN, but technically, without you realizing, you'll have entered your PIN number and wiped out all your mobile money. So if you get a strange call telling you this, please do not do anything. Don't share your PIN, don't share your NIN, your national identification number, don't send any mobile money to anybody you are not clear about. So that's the key message, but the detail of it, I'll implore our viewers to tune into UBC and follow proceedings here.
Thank you very much. Now to the viewers out there, welcome to the 12th Communications Consumer Parliament here in Arua City, the 12th edition of what has been happening from that time. Now, Joseph has actually given us the brief of what is happening here, and the best we can say is just be part of it. Let's wait for the proceedings and enjoy everything as it continues happening. The hashtag is CCP12 for you who want to follow this live from wherever, tweet about it, follow the proceedings and say anything, especially those who are watching TV and of course following us live. Welcome again to this 12th edition of the Communications Consumer Parliament, brought to you by UCC.